Express has served us amazingly well. It's one of those I can't imagine writing a Node app without this package sort of package. Well, not all that long ago, Express version 4 came out. We've been using version 3. As far as major version updates go, this is one of the less painful ones that we could update to. In this episode, we're going to have a high-level look at what Express 4 introduces. This will look like a bit of a regression, but in this single file we have our entire application. Why this setup? Well, we want to talk about the differences in Express 4 with as much isolation as we can. Thus, we have this app. It's really not worth looking at all the specifics here, so I'll just highlight the parts that matter. First, this is an Express app. Second, notice that we're using body parser in this app. Third, I have some middlewares, because we always have middlewares. Finally, we have our routes. I have these grouped by logical sections of our application, namely admin, auth, and app. Lastly, we just kick off our server and let ourselves know it's running. Ooh, notice this deprecation warning. Keep that in mind. We'll come back to it. We can hit these routes, of course. And if we look in our log output, we can see that our security by timidity strategy executed exactly as we expected it to. This is a great app. But what happens if we take it to Express 4? Well, let's find out. First, we whack the entry for Express in our package file, and then we run the following commands. First, we'll just delete our node modules, and then we install Express. Then we restart our server, and kaboom! Not happiness. Let's get into what happened. First, Express took out all of the bundled middleware except for static. This means that if you want to use those middlewares we knew before, you'll need to include them directly into your package.json file, rather than relying on Express to do so. Now this lets you get access to new versions of these middlewares without having to wait for new versions of Express too. This is a good move. One of the problems this creates for us in the short term, though, is figuring out what the middlewares were. So looking at node/this config application, we can see that we're going to have some fun when we fix this for node/. But rather than get overwhelmed right now, let's have a look at this app. We're only using body parser. For body parser, it's pretty easy. We'll just use this one. To install it, npm install -- save body parser, and notice the dash in the package name. Now to use it, we put the following lines in just above our routes. We still call app.use for middleware, and in this case we're just using the URL encoded function on body parser. This instructs the middleware how to construct our request body. At body parser's website, we can read of other options that are beyond our scope here. I put a link to that page in the show notes, but for our app, we're just using form submissions, which is all node/ has used up to this point too. So now we restart the server. Notice the deprecation warnings are gone. And then we can see that the browser still works the way we want it to. Now you might be thinking, wow, that wasn't very exciting. And I would agree. Updating dependencies isn't very exciting, but to keep our app up to date, which makes the internet a safer place for everyone, this is the price that we pay. Why did we dive into this much detail? Because I think it's really important to experience the flavor of hunting for these middleware replacements and using them. Now, I personally found this change pretty exciting, but in that same way that it was exciting when I could make letters appear on the screen in my operating systems class back in university. You sort of had to be there. There is a payoff, though, and that payoff is better apps that are easier to maintain and reason about. So stay tuned, and until then, happy coding.